Week 2 of college football is finally here, and it is rivalry week. Colorado Buffs are taking on Nebraska in Lincoln. Both teams are 1-0. There's a lot of hate between these two teams going back into decades ago. A lot is on the line. Wow, I really hope that Colorado can take this one out, but we'll go full in depth into it. Welcome back, everybody. This is Buffs Banter, presented by Believe Network. My name is Dean Frank. This is my roommate, Oscar Gonzalez-Moore. Oscar, how are you feeling about this week, man?
Man, it is super exciting for sure. This rivalry, as you said, has been long-standing and dates back way before the Big 12 days. It's going to be interesting, man. Right now, Nebraska is favored 7.5 points at home. Dylan Raiola versus Shedeur Sanders, the matchup everyone's been waiting for. Young Pat Mahomes versus the future of the NFL. We'll see what happens, but yeah, there's so much to dive into. I think the first thing that catches my eye is last year in the Nebraska game and their first game against UTEP, Nebraska started off slow. So I think that's going to be a key thing to look out for. If Colorado can get off to a hot start, that could decide the game. Nebraska, I believe, had less than 10 points against UTEP in the first half, and we know what happened last year. Just to recap, Nebraska had 0 points. Jeff Sims had 2 fumbles in the first half. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how this game pans out.
I've seen a couple of different media sites that Shedeur and Raiola are two of the most controversial but yet most exciting quarterbacks in the country right now. And, I definitely think that is true. I think Raiola, there's a lot at stake for him right now because there's not too many freshman quarterbacks in the league right now. And, when there's a freshman quarterback that's already starting, there's just a lot at stake for him. And I really think for both teams, actually, this is going to be pretty much, it feels like the first game of the season. Week 1, it was kind of just like up in the air. Nebraska had UTEP, which was supposed to be a dub. And obviously it was. We at Colorado had North Dakota State, which we knew was going to be a tough game. But either way, this is real Power 5 football now. In Lincoln, Nebraska, it's going to be, the atmosphere there is going to be insane. I think they hold over 80,000 people. And I think that's going to be the real test for, honestly, the Colorado and Shedeur being in the Big 12 now. Obviously, I know Nebraska is a Big 10 school, but I think the atmosphere there is going to be crazy. And I think if we were in Boulder, that would change a lot. So playing away, I do want to see how our team holds up. But yeah, I guess we can kind of go into it. We saw what happened last week against North Dakota State. Obviously, Shedeur, Travis Hunter, and Jimmy Horn hooking up. Our offensive power is unbeatable. And we know that if it becomes a shootout in any game, really, I'm taking our offense. I'm taking our wideouts. So it really depends on the possession of time. And if Nebraska decides to, maybe hold the ball a little more, try and just run down the field and I guess just possess the ball more than we do because we don't know how our D-line is going to hold up. And obviously we don't know how our O-line is going to hold up either. So this is the first big true test of this season. And I think this will show a lot going into the rest of the season because if the Buffs can win this game, I'm not going to say undefeated for a bunch of games after that, but this is like our big test until we have to see some of those tougher teams later in the schedule.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I think it's so crazy how much attention is on this game. Like this is right up here with Texas, Michigan. And considering none of these teams or both of these teams didn't make a bowl game last year, it's just like amazing to see how much attention this is garnering. One thing that definitely we should keep our eyes out for is Matt Rule. Last year, was his first year coaching this Nebraska team. And we know he's been from Baylor to the NFL, the Panthers, where everyone wanted him out immediately. Now it's Nebraska, and he's infamously known for rebuilding teams. And last year, like I just said, Nebraska didn't make a bowl game or anything. So right now he's got probably the best prospect as a freshman, Dylan Raiola, who threw 238 yards, last week. But also their offense, man, is just stacked. I mean, they had 3 running backs, which does concern me, run for over 50 yards. Isaiah Nair, 121 yards and a tutty. One guy I really love is Jahal Banks. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he is an incredible deep ball threat, and I think it's going to be scary because we know our secondary, our D line are not where we wanted them to be, at least against North Dakota State. Um, and yeah, Travis is obviously nobody can guard Travis. He is one of one, insane athlete. But I think if Nebraska can lock up our other offensive weapons, obviously Travis is going to do what Travis does, but if they can lock up our other wide receivers, we are definitely not in a great position to win this game. And that's coming from a diehard Buffs fan, you know what I mean? Hard to say. I was almost choking on my words, but that's just how I feel.
I think I'm really going to have to say this every week because until we see it happen, it's just going to be up in the air. But this game is going to be won in the trenches. We need to keep seeing this O-line. We need a running game. I mean, obviously Shedeur threw for over 400 yards last game, and our running game was pretty weak. I mean, only 50 yards, about 2.5 on average. But if we want to win this game, Dallin Hayden, we need him to step up. We need a touchdown from him. We need to push the narrative a little different because at some point, I know our wide receiver room is stacked. I know Shedeur is probably top quarterback in the nation, but it's not going to hold up every single game. He can't throw for 400 yards every game. So we do got to switch it up. I don't know if it's Pat Shurmur at the offensive coordinator, maybe switch it up a little bit, or if it's Dion. But either way, Coach Prime, excuse me. I know we've gotten some hate comments in the past saying we need to address him as Coach Prime, but I feel like he's my boy, so I can just call him Dion. But we really do need a running game because Jimmy Horn isn't gonna have 198 receiving yards every game. Travis isn't gonna go for 3 touchdowns every game. We do have to switch it up, and if we want to win this game, we need to have a running game. I think it should be Dallin Hayden because he is definitely the most skilled running back. I said that last week as well. But if we don't have a running game, it's just going to be hard to have so much success in the air every week.
100%. And yeah, just generally talking about the implications of this game. Man, I was just talking about how hyped up it is, but I think if Nebraska wins this game, they could go 7-0 into Ohio State, which is nuts. And on the other side of the ball, if Colorado wins this game, I mean, every single sports media outlet is going to have a headline. Like First Take, I know they're going to have a segment. Can Colorado make the college football playoffs? It's going to be exactly like last year, man. And I love it. I mean, this game is probably the most minimal hyped up game, if that makes sense. Like no bowl teams, no bowl teams. Both teams are just 1-0, but there's so much emotion and excitement about this. This could determine both teams' seasons.
It's funny we say that because I feel like it's every week we're saying that Colorado is going to be the most watched game. And it is true. I mean, last week, the Thursday night, we had the highest viewed ESPN game in I don't know how long, but we averaged over 5 million views. And we know that this game is going to do just as well. It's funny you say that about the ESPN and First Take because we win or lose, we're going to be all over the media, right? We win, it's going to be, oh, Colorado's so hype. Like, what's going to happen? We lose, Coach Prime's a bust, Shedeur's a bust. It's just like the media every week is just going to change. So I guess we've been saying this, but we just got to keep winning and we got to shut the media down before they have any time to say anything. And it's funny because, I mean, we are the media at this point. So we love anything controversial that goes down. But I guess just to close it off, the spread is at +7.5 right now. How are you feeling like when it comes down to it? We can go score predictions. Like, what do you need to see happen for Colorado to win?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think Nebraska is going to blow Colorado out. Like, I could see like a 48-10 game, or Colorado wins this in a shootout. You know what I mean? Like 35-32. Mirroring the North Dakota State game. And for Colorado to win this, man, first thing we're going to have to do is stop the run. Matt Rule is known for running the ball a ton, and he's got Dylan Raiola, which is just like, You know what I mean? It's going to be a hard game. There's a lot of ways Nebraska can attack this defense, but I think, and we might be biased, but I think Colorado's got one of the best offenses in the league. I mean, in college football. So our offense needs to show out. I think that's a given, but our defense really needs to step up. Want to see some work in the trenches. Want to see a Travis Hunter pick. I would really want to see that on every single sports media outlet, so we can react to that. But yeah, that's just how I feel. It's either going to be a blowout Nebraska or a shootout win by Colorado.
I think the moment is just going to be too big for Raiola, man. I mean, this is going to be truly his first big test. I think we can get a couple sacks in there. People are really underestimating this D-line. This is a whole new D-line from last year from Colorado's side. So I think I'm going to take Colorado. I think the spread, I'm easily taking that spread because you can't give too much numbers for Shedeur in this offense, man. It's just, if it is a shootout, there's no way we're losing this game. I want to see LeJontay Westard and Will Shepherd. I want to see them get in the mix a little bit more, obviously being two of our biggest name transfers. Obviously, it'd be awesome to see Jimmy Horn pop off again, but, I think they'll be watching a little film now. But we got to go Buffs, man. I know, it's hard not to be biased, but obviously we're both going to be watching this game. And if we can win this game, I think it'll just make us feel a little more confident. It is still super early in the year. Like I said, this is the Buffs' first real test of the season. Are we like that this year? Is this just going to be another year where the hype falls off and we slowly fade away into the college football media? Or are we going to stay at the top for the rest of the season? Let us know what y'all think in the comments. Go Buffs, baby. Game 2, we will be back on Sunday or Monday with our post-game reactions. Hopefully it's after we are 2-0 and Nebraska is 1-1 because this rivalry needs to keep up. I love it. I mean, there's no red on campus this week. This is business now. It is personal. Anything close off, Oscar?
Skull Buffs, man. Let's go into Nebraska. Let's kick their asses and let's get this dub. Come home 2-0, rest up, and continue this shred. Let's continue the tear.
And then we got CSU, which I'm so excited to get into that. But one game at a time. Let's go Buffs, baby.